Because of Jesus, anyone can radically change, including you. This is an instant message. What's going on? I'm Alex. I'm actually one of the leaders here, and welcome to F1oorOneTV. We're actually a team of students, creatives, and youth pastors that just want to make videos for you guys. We hope that when you come to our channel, you'll be challenged, you'll be encouraged, and hopefully inspired. Now first, I want to say hello to those of you who've been watching our content week after week. But if you're new here, hit the subscribe button right now. Now you as students all have one thing in common. You all want to be seen, you want to be known and valued for who you are. You don't want fake relationships, you want personal ones. Now in this series, we're actually going to be looking at 5 specific questions you can ask to make those relationships in your lives a whole lot real and a lot more personal. Now, how do we know we can make this happen? Well, because we're actually taking a tip from the way Jesus did it. And to give you an idea of just how to make everything, including your relationship with Him, a little more personal.
Hi, I'm Cherish, and I'm a junior and a state champ gymnast. All right, second at nationals. My best event is balance beam. But it hasn't always been that way. I didn't start gymnastics until 6th grade, which is way older than most people. Some of the coaches didn't want to bother with me because they thought I was too old to learn. But there was this one coach, Coach Maria. She spent so much time with me. Coach Maria didn't just focus on what I was doing, she believed in what I could do. What I learned from that is everyone has potential to be different than what they are right now. You can't really imagine what someone can do unless you really get to know them and see their potential. Coach Maria didn't just teach me gymnastics, she made it personal.
All right, hey everyone, it's Trevor. Good to see you, or not see you. This is recorded, but good to see you. Today I'm going to be talking about potential, but first we're going to talk about change. So, think about, your time through middle school and especially high school now. I think in high school this happens a lot more, obviously, but, people change over time, right? They change up their style, maybe they change the color of their hair, maybe they change their personality, they get a bit more outspoken, maybe they get quieter. People change over time. It's as simple as that. Even you yourself change, even if you didn't notice. And so, really any example of your friends, especially my friends, like, including myself, are very different people, years ago. And so the big thing you got to realize is that everyone changes, right? And one thing I want you to kind of take away from today, right in the beginning, just in case you don't listen in between, is that everyone has potential and everyone has the potential to change. Everyone does. So we're going to talk about specifically Zacchaeus. I don't know if you guys remember this guy. Pretty much to spike your memory, he's the really short tax collector dude that climbed a tree to see Jesus. But before we get to that, we have to talk about the definition of change. What is change, Trevor? And that's a good question. Because change, to put it more generally, because change is a bit of a complicated thing. There's a lot of factors that go into it, but to put it simply, is that change is pretty much an increase or decrease away from your potential. And so, understanding this, let's move forward with Zacchaeus. So with Zacchaeus, if you've read any of Luke, this dude, short tax collector guy, climbed a tree to see Jesus. And Jesus is like, what are you doing up there? And told him to come down and that he was going to visit him, right? And so, if you want to take a look with me, in Luke chapter 19, I'm just going to read through the verses, kind of talk with you through them. So in Luke 19, starting in verse 7, and when they saw it, they all grumbled, he has gone in to be a guest of a man who is a sinner, right? So Zacchaeus, of course, if he was a tax collector, he was the chief tax collector. So he had a little bit, bit more power under him. And the big thing with the Pharisees is that obviously they saw this man as a sinner because, he probably cheated people. Because back in Bible times, tax collectors they weren't regulated, So they could go up to a house and be like, hey, I need this much. And then it's really double what the king wants for taxes, but the people just kind of have to believe him even if they know he's lying. And then they can just pocket the extra stuff they get and then give the rest to the king. And so being a chief tax collector, he can get away with that a little easier because, of course, he has a lot more power under him. But even so, Jesus visits this man anyway. And the big thing we see here is that the Pharisees don't see the potential in this man because they just see him as, this cheater, tax collector, he just steals from people. Why would Jesus want to be with this dude, right? And we kind of make this mistake too, myself included, even to this day. We might see, maybe at the lunch table you see a kid wanting to sit with you, but, you tell them no because you don't see the potential in that person. You don't think they're cool enough or whatever. And let's say we go to a pickup basketball game and, you have team captains picking people. The last kid that gets picked, probably everyone didn't really see potential in him because maybe he's shorter or some other reason. But so the Pharisees are essentially us. We are unable to really see people's potential and a lot of the time not even see our own potential. But so if we read even further, we see that in verse 8, and Zacchaeus stood and said to the Lord, "Behold, Lord, the half of my goods I give to the poor. And if I have defrauded anyone of anything, I restore it fourfold." And Jesus said to him, "Today salvation has come to this house, since he is also the son of Abraham. The Son of Man came to seek and to save the lost." And so there's a lot to unpack. But the really big thing you see here is that Zacchaeus pretty much did a huge 180. He changed dramatically. He went from stealing from people to giving half his belongings to the poor and then paying everyone back and even paying them more back. But the big thing is that this man, before he didn't realize his potential. No one realized it. They were just like, oh, he's just a tax collector that steals from people. Simple as that, right? But then he met Jesus and then everything changed. His potential was realized. And he changed dramatically and then pretty much went from stealing to being super generous all of a sudden. And we see a lot of examples of this in the Bible, a really big one, the Apostle Paul. He went from persecuting Christians to being the guy that wrote literally most of the New Testament. That's a pretty big change. That's a lot of huge potential there. And then even another one with Peter, right? One of the disciples. He was just a fisherman. He just did that day and night. That's it. And then he met Jesus and then he completely changed for the better. He became one of the most well-known and relatable disciples out there. And so that's nuts, isn't it? Their potential was realized after they met Jesus. Keep this in mind. We'll talk about this later. But so, why are you telling me this? Why does this matter? I want to tell you why it matters. Essentially, as you see, there's a constant factor in these stories of these people, these regular people. Keep in mind, Zacchaeus was just a regular, smaller in stature dude that took taxes and stole from people. He wasn't the best person. These were really normal people. Zacchaeus was just a tax collector. He stole from people. Saul, and then now known as Paul, persecuted Christians, and Peter was just a fisherman. And the factor in each of these beautiful stories of them realizing their potential, becoming huge characters in the Bible, was Jesus. And so that's what we need to realize today, is that the reason why you may undersell yourself or undersell others and not realize your own potential and everyone else's potential is that maybe you're just not taking Jesus seriously, or you don't have Jesus at all. And so, in a really big thing I want to share with you in Psalms 139:14, if you want to look at that with me. So, Psalms 139:14, "I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works, and my soul knows it very well." Now, see, that's a very beautiful verse, but it's true. This potential that I've been talking to you about is built into us all. Zacchaeus had it as soon as he was created. Paul had it his whole life, and Peter had his whole life, but they never realized this potential they had until they met Jesus. And Jesus completely changed their lives and had them realize the potential they were capable of. And so I want you to, this is another thing I want you to take away from today, is that you have this built-in potential. You were fearfully and wonderfully made to have this potential, but to be able to realize this and to actually change, you have to have Jesus first. And so, Trevor, how do I do literally anything you've just talked about? That's a great question. So step one, pretty much what I just said, you need to have Jesus. You need to either accept Jesus or you need to take Jesus more seriously. And I'll go into how to take Jesus more seriously, but this is the first step, because this is the step in every story you see about people changing and realizing their potential, is that they met Jesus, Jesus changed them, and they became these amazing disciples for him. They did amazing, glorious things. And you may think, well, I'm not capable of any of this. Paul wrote all the New Testament. Peter did awesome things like miracles, and Zacchaeus gave half of his stuff and paid a bunch of people back. I don't have that kind of money. I don't either. But the thing is, we're all capable of doing things like that. Always. Even if it's little things. Even if it's big things. It doesn't matter. We all have the potential to be able to do this. And realizing and accepting this today is a very big step. And it's hard for a lot of people. It's even hard for me. But accepting Jesus will allow you to be able to, because pretty much accepting Jesus will allow Jesus to show you that you have this potential. This fearfully and wonderfully made person that you are. The only way you can really see it is for Jesus to show you. And so step 2, how to take Jesus more seriously. Pretty much taking Jesus seriously is like treating it like a relationship, because that's what it is. And you need to pray. I know, maybe not the most fun thing in the world, maybe it seems a little too simple, but it really is that simple. Communication is key in any relationship. I'm sure many of you know that. If you don't know that, you're welcome. But obviously communication is very important in any relationship you're in, whether it's romantic or a friendship. And speaking, to God every day, constantly through the day, will have you learn a lot of things, because talking to God will have you learn a lot more things about yourself, about others' potentials, about your potential. It can also be able to show you amazing things you're capable of that you didn't even know about. That's pretty awesome. But you gotta talk to the guy. It's as simple as that. And step 3 is you gotta read. I know, super boring, but hear me out here. Reading is another way that God communicates with us. And it also allows you to see other really good examples of Jesus being involved in a story and having that person completely change. There's so many stories, especially in the Gospels, of Jesus just showing up and so many miraculous things happening. And seeing all these wonderful people do amazing things, and also seeing all the writings of Paul, like I mentioned before in the New Testament. Paul's got a lot of good things to say. You should read about it. But reading is very important. Even if you're just reading like a couple verses a day, chapter a day, a couple of chapters a day, if you're really wanting to go at it, read a whole book a day. It's a little much though, even. But, reading is very important. It's incredibly important to always be in the Word and always be communicating with Jesus. And really step 4 happens after you, begin and maintain these past 3 steps, is really keep moving forward. Keep moving towards this potential that you have. Keep becoming more like Jesus, because really that's the ultimate potential that we all have, is Jesus. We are all made to be like Jesus, to worship Him, and to be servants to others. And being able to accept that Jesus is the only way we can change and reach this potential we have, understanding that we are fearfully and wonderfully made, and constantly talking to Him and learning from Jesus, constantly reading the Word and learning more about the things He did, and learning more from Paul, from what God has told him to write down in the Bible. Putting all these things together will have you change dramatically. Because I'm sure you've seen it even in yourself. If you accepted Jesus, there's probably a really dramatic change. And today, I know a lot of stuff's been going on, elections, pandemic, school, especially school for me. But there's a lot of stuff going on. Maybe it's hard for you to see your potential right now. Maybe it's hard to see, things being good anytime soon. Maybe it's hard to see Jesus right now. And I just want you to say that, hey, you're fearfully and wonderfully made, and you're going to get through this. And that you're strong, and that Jesus just wants you to know that you're awesome. And that everyone has this wonderful potential to do amazing things, like Paul, like Zacchaeus, like Peter, like anyone in the Bible. We can do amazing things. But the only way is through Jesus.
That's going to be it for today's video. Thank you for watching. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel and click the links in the description. And remember, if nobody told you they love you today, remember we do and we always will. Bye!
And
Yes! You did it!
oh no, Courtney, I forgot to hit record on this. You have to do this all over.